Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review. Like I said, so I haven't been uploading any other videos because, like I said, I'm in the midst of pre-recording my stuff for Anime Month. So, and also in the days when I'm not, I'm taking breaks in between, so I can watch. Because, like I said, I'm watching series that takes like a couple days to get through, and then I'm reviewing them. So that's the reason I haven't been uploading any video, uploading anything, because I'm doing that and making the pre-recorded videos. So that's why. But it'll be all worth it in the end when June comes, my birthday month. But just to keep you guys occupied right now, so I'll get back to another movie review that I want to review, another one from last year, and which I reviewed the one from 2017, which I liked, but I have issues with it. And that is the next of the installment of the MCU, and that is of Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man Far From Home from 2019. Big hit as like every other MCU movie, you know, big hit, over $1 billion. But this became the first Spider-Man film to gross over $1 billion. But Spider-Man Far From Home, I once again like the first film, the first film of the MCU, the Spider-Man. But I have issues with Homecoming, even though I did like it. All right, because time went on, you know, because it's like, okay, I like it. I still like it, all right, because I still like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. He did a good job in that film, as he does in this film. I like Michael Keaton as the Vulture. And that was pretty much about it. If it wasn't for that, then I would not like Spider-Man Homecoming. And pretty much like this, I feel like the same thing about this, but about Spider-Man Far From Home. Tom Holland, once again, he does do a good job as Peter Parker Spider-Man. As the villain of Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal, he was definitely he also did a really good job as Mysterio. I was hoping he would, and he did. I thought there was a couple things that was improved on, because this is the same director who directed Homecoming, John Watts. I think he did improve a couple of things from his previous movie, like action, especially action scenes, and a couple of other things. So that was a positive thing. Like some of the action, like especially towards the end, it was really good. Like I said, Tom Holland, Jake Gyllenhaal, Samuel Jackson. I like his Nick Fury, but Cobie Smulders comes back as Maria Hill. Same with John Favreau, who plays Hogan, Happy Hogan. But and of course this takes, and the guy, of course, once again got a lot of praise. It's a 91% Rotten Tomatoes, a 7.5 on IMDb, made over $1 billion. Of course, is the MCU. But all that aside, this takes place directly after Avengers Endgame, and right off the bat, when the show's the Marvel Studios logo, you have Whitney Houston's "We'll Always Love You" playing, and it's at Peter's school. Like, they're doing a memoriam because for Captain America, which I guess he's dead now, because it's a memoriam, because you have the ones who are dead, like Black Widow, Iron Man, and Vision, who's also dead, but he's gonna be alive in the TV show. But that's more on that later. But that's for them. So you can see now Captain America's dead, because it's a memoriam now. Because if you remember Endgame, he was an old man at the end. And you do get a sort of an interesting thing, that is established in a little bit of Endgame, but here it doesn't get bring up again. It's only for this one moment. I don't know why in every single review I'm started yawning. Probably because I'm wearing myself out, because, you know, when I'm pre-recording my videos, it's very late at night, and that's why I'm very tired. That's why you see I'm yawning a lot in those videos, because a lot of times I'm staying up late and making my videos. Or maybe because I'm yawning and precursor to all this stuff that's going to happen in this review. Like the issues I have. Like this, for instance. They bring this thing up and they don't do anything with it, because, like in Endgame, like okay, like how the kids have their own thing or doing the broadcast on the TVs, whatever. But this one kid says that his little brother, because they mentioned up, what was the thing they called the Thanos stab? What was it called, the blimp? Originally they called it the snap though, or something like that. But I think they called it the blip. I think, but like. He mentions that he was gone. This one kid said he was gone for 5 years, and now his little brother is now his older brother, right? That was an interesting thing about they do, because it's like an Endgame. 5 years have passed, and like Ant-Man, Scott Lang, his daughter is now 5 years older. And he's like, "Hey, you got him big." Like that though, but they bring this one thing up again because it doesn't bring anything with it because apparently I guess we know Spider-Man he was gone. And I guess all of his friends were, because they're the same age still. So you get that character Ned, Mary Jane, Flash. If you hear my dog is barking, somebody outside, she's scraping her nails against the screen door. She goes absolutely nuts. If you hear that, I apologize. She goes absolutely. She's a psycho dog. She goes absolutely nuts when people are walking by. She goes. So once again, that's what you hear. But as I was saying, like, because now apparently now Ed, Mary Jane, Flash Thompson, like, they're still the same age, so apparently they got zapped away. So that's, otherwise if they did, they would be much older. But that's one issue that doesn't get brought up again afterwards. And then, of course, now that there's an issue, bringing up another issue, is that, you know, how the whole thing with Spider-Man, about his character is that no one's supposed to know who he is. But everybody is now, well, by the end of the movie, everyone will know who he is. But still, like before, Hogan knows is Peter Parker, and by the end of Homecoming, his Aunt May knows, and his friend Ned knows. And then later, Mary Jane, she figures out he's Spider-Man. Nick Fury knows he's Spider-Man, and same with Agent Hill. I mean, it's defeating the purpose of. Even though until the end of the movie, though, but it's been defeating the purpose of no one's supposed to know who he's Spider-Man. You know, his identity is supposed to be secret, all that though. But here, now everyone knows who he is. I mean, I'm just pointing out though. So, what else? So, I'm bringing up issues here, but there's still stuff I liked about it. Well, I know they don't mention Uncle Ben again. I know that's kind of an overplayed thing because in the same Raimi movies, they bring up Uncle Ben. Even the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, they have him up. They bring him up again. And I think they didn't want to do that again because all the other Spider-Mans, they keep bringing him up. But at the same time, you have to mention him at least once. They didn't mention him in Homecoming. Well, they did. They sort of did. They sort of did Homecoming, like with his friend. When Peter was talking with his friend, they mentioned about MA, like, you know, we don't want her. I want her going through what she's been before. You know, they're kind of hinting about the death of Ben Parker. So they sort of touch on that though, but they don't say his name fully out loud. But you have to mention him because mention his name because he gives one of the greatest lines in comic book history. With great power comes great responsibility. Although you do see, like, when Peter Parker, when he takes he packs a bag, right, and the suitcase he has BP on it. You know, it has for Ben Parker, his initials on there. Yeah, you see that with Ben Parker, but they don't say his name out loud. I know they say. They want to mention because it's overplayed in all the other movies, though, they made. But still, at least mention his name once. With great power comes great responsibility. I know, it's because that's one of the key things, especially in the Marvel comics, was for Spider-Man. But he's going on his class trip to Europe, and when they get there, there's a thing dealing with one of the elementals, Which I guess the water elemental, I guess it's supposed to be Hydro Man. You know, the character, the Spider-Man villain Hydro Man, who's a guy who is water. I guess that's supposed to be Hydro Man. And the other elementals, then Mysterio comes in, which I think I already called this when I did from the first teaser. I think that he's a bad guy, because I think he's playing that as being the good guy. I think I mentioned that, which I already knew he was going to do this, because that's the part of Mysterio. He's a trickster. That's what he is. He creates all these illusions, because that's what all these elementals are. They're all illusions, stimulations created by Mysterio. And of course, later he has a crew with him that was helping him on this stuff. But still, that's what Mysterio does, which I already knew that he's not gonna be a good guy. It's fooling. It's supposed to fool us. They think he's supposed to be a good guy, but I already knew this because he's a villain no matter what. He's a con man. That's what he does. He creates illusions. A trickster is what he is. So I already know this already. That he's already playing everybody for a fool. And then everything about this, they're trying to make everything a comedy after this whole movie. Everything is supposed to be a comedy, which I know that's one thing I'm getting tired of, because they're trying to make every MCU movie a comedy. You know, Guardians of the Galaxy movies are comedy. Well, the first one had a little more heart to it though, but still, like, they're trying to make it like the second one film was supposed to be like comedy as well. Doctor Strange had a little bit of comedy, but it had a little more of a darker stuff to it though. Well, Spider-Man Homecoming had comedy in it, and well, they're trying to add comedy to every single MCU film. I think that's why I'm getting tired of hearing. You can have comedy, but not trying to make not trying to make every single MCU film a comedy. I know, like, the first one was not meant. Guardians of the Galaxy was not meant to be a comedy, because it had a little heart to it. Doctor Strange had a little bit of dark magic to it. It had comedy, but it mixed in with the balance, which really with the darkness of the mystical universe it was mixing with. But not trying to make everything a comedy nowadays. But there's other characters I didn't care about. I didn't care about Flash Thompson or Russ's classes. I still did not like Ned. I mentioned that with my review of Homecoming. I did not like Ned still. Mary Jane, what was her name? Zendaya, which is quite funny that in Homecoming she showed like no interest in Peter Parker. Because Peter Parker was like in the other girl who was the daughter of Vulture. She had no interest. Like, you guys are losers. It was sort of like making a little bit fun of him in the previous movie, though. But here, now all of a sudden she likes Peter Parker. I'm scratching my head because, like, really, now he's into him? Okay, I don't know how that happened. I guess when you get zapped, you change your persona on certain people, I guess. But I didn't care about her. Well, I'll probably take her over Kristen Dunst. And I just to say, Tom Holland, to me, all the other ones, I think he's the better Spider-Man. I'm still not a big fan of Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. I think overall, Tom Holland is the better Spider-Man for me. I mean, there were certain things I liked. I mean, Spider-Man 2, I think it's the best of that Sam Raimi trilogy. I'm not a fan of the Amazing Spider-Man movies, although I think Emma Stone was a good Gwen Stacy, though. She was one of the highlights of both of those movies. And I like Dennis Leary. Just too bad he died in the first one. But the Lizard was crap. Lorena was a big letdown, and Electro. So, but I think I'll probably take Zendaya over Kristen Dunst, because I wasn't an overall fan of her Mary Jane anyway. I mean, as the years have gone past, yeah. What else? I mean, like, some of the humor I didn't think was funny, like one moment when Peter Parker was having his pants down and this guy Brad was catching him in the act. And and this whole thing, okay, John Favreau gives. No, actually, no. It was Nick Fury who gave Peter Parker the glasses. It was from Tony Stark. This high-tech glasses, which he calls Edith. This whole scene could have been cut out. I did not care for this one scene at all. Where there's this guy, the guy Brad thinks who likes Mary Jane, and he tells Edith to take him out, which dumb because it's Stark technology and it's weaponry. So unknowingly there's a satellite thing with a bunch of these drones with missiles or guns, whatever. He wants to kill this guy, but he stops it. This whole thing could have been cut out. I did not care for this one scene at all. I know I'm sounding negative though to this, but the most part, I'm getting to the good things that I like about. Like I said, but Tom Holland acting wise, he was still good as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And then when he meets when Nick Fury, Sam Jackson takes Spider-Man to meet with Jake Gyllenhaal, Quentin Beck, which Jake Gyllenhaal, I thought he did a good job as Mysterio playing. I thought it was a good. When I first heard that when Jake Gyllenhaal was cast as Mysterio, I thought it was an interesting choice. Which is quite funny is that I think back then when the Sam Raimi Spider-Man before Tobey Maguire, I think Jake Gyllenhaal, he was originally going to be cast as Spider-Man. I think. If so, then that would have been interesting. I'd rather take him over Tobey Maguire, which I think which is like ironically becomes a Spider-Man villain later right here. But Jake Gyllenhaal, I think he did a really good job. They made Mysterio interesting, which is what which Mysterio is supposed to be. He's an interesting villain. He's like the Lord of Illusions, which, and he's also in the case he's also a con man as well, which is also a point. But he tells his phone, which we all know I already knew he was fooling everybody. Like he tells this thing about he was from another multiverse of Earth, and the elementals destroyed his world. Now he's here to stop these. You know, and he has mentioned about how he kill his family because he's like pawning his little ring right here. Oh yeah, in case you ever wondered, in my pre-recorded, which I was wearing this when doing most of my pre-recorded videos. If you're ever wondering, this is my high school ring. If anybody ever says anything, yeah, this is my high school ring. You'll see these in my wearing this in my pre-recorded videos. Why I chose to wear it, I just felt like it. Because I hardly ever wear rings, so I just felt wearing my high school ring. So if everyone notices, you'll see me wearing this in most of my pre-recorded anime videos. But he was like pawning his ring because his family. Which I knew that he was like, and the costume wise, the look of the Mysterio costume was really well done. It kind of like does resemble most. Until when the holographic image of Mysterio with the fishbowl, which I say it's fishbowl, the helmet, but that's what a lot of people call it now. It's the Mysterio fishbowl. But the look of Mysterio, he does kind of resemble like it was in the comics, the costume wise, and including the helmet. That does kind of look like how it is. Most of the character designs from the comic. He's like a little bit purple, gold suit, a little bit green too. Especially with the green smoke, because I think he had like the green smoke too, which you see green smoke in this. So I think that was most of the MCU or other comic book villains. Design wise, it does look like it's mostly straight out of the comics. Design wise, and Jake Gyllenhaal did a really good job as Mysterio in selling his shtick, basically, the character shtick. And then when they released this other battle to the fire elemental, in which Spider-Man wears his black suit. Which another thing is, I did not care for any of these suits. First of all, especially in the beginning, he was wearing that Iron Man spider suit, which I did not like. I did not like it when it was in Infinity War. I did not like it was in here, also in Avengers Endgame as well. I did not like that Iron. I know it's probably a thing that the comics they call the Iron Spider. We had the robotic legs, but I still did not like that suit. I hated that suit. I did not like this black suit. The other one I could come across is this one here, but it's a little bit black though. But I just prefer the original blue and red, which we had in Homecoming. And to be honest, like another good suit was I'll probably give to the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies is the costume. I also like the costume in that. I just make it like the original suit it was. I don't care for any of these suits. So I hate the Iron Suit. And that's another thing. They wanted him to be he wants to be like the next Iron Man, which he doesn't need to be the next Iron Man. I know Tony Stark was was a mentor or a father figure to him. I get it. But he does not need to be the next Iron Man. He's Spider-Man. He's like the neighborhood Spider-Man. He doesn't need to be the next Iron Man. That's another thing. He does not need to be the next Iron Man. He's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And especially he doesn't need all this technology, which, that's another thing. I know, which is cool, he gets his Spidey sense toward the end, which I don't know why he didn't get these from later on, from the previous movie, or later during this movie. But he gets to the end, which is cool, though. But Spider-Man is Spider-Man. He doesn't need to change. He doesn't need technology. He does not need me in the next Iron Man. And speaking of that line, you see the trailer, how he's in that iron suit. He's fighting these bad guys, and these cops are talking to him. He's like, "You're gonna be the next Iron Man?" That's not in the movie. What, it's gonna be an extended cut or something like that? Whatever. But they defeat the Molten thing, and he's talking with Jake Gyllenhaal, and which is another dumb thing on Peter Parker, is that he gives the glasses. He's known Jake Gyllenhaal for maybe, it was 1 day or 2, I think it was, but he gives it to him anyway. He's like, "Oh, I'm not worthy of these. You are." I know I'm sounding more negative on this movie though, but if it wasn't for Tom Holland, Jake Gyllenhaal, Samuel Jackson, he still is, performing wise, throughout the whole MCU, I always liked him as Nick Fury. I'll give Sam Jackson that though. But also including more in the action scenes, so especially the finale. Those are the saving points in the movie. I know I'm just pointing out all these. I'm having the same issues I have with Homecoming. Both these movies are flawed. That's what they are. They're flawed. 2 flawed movies. But to get into the positive thing is soon as Spider-Man leaves since he gave Jake Gyllenhaal the glasses, everything this whole bar that he was in is all been an illusion. And Jake Gyllenhaal, he's celebrating with his crew that had a hand in it. And they also included with one guy we saw in the very first Iron Man movie that Jeff Bridges was yelling at. "Stark built this in a cave from scraps." That one guy he was yelling at. This guy here too was helping him out, and a couple of other people. Apparently, this holographic technology was designed by Jake Gyllenhaal, but the beginning of Captain America: Civil War, he was that holographic image to make the young Tony Stark. That was his design, but took it and Tony Stark called it barf. Yeah. So he did all this because they were all employees of Tony Stark, which he had fired, I guess. So yeah, okay, all this is interesting. This is all pretty good, and how Jake Gyllenhaal, he's celebrating that his whole con plan had worked, and because now he's got the glasses, and he has these things that launches these drones, which he can use to his advantage, which is quite funny. Another thing, Tony Stark had these glasses that controlled all these drones. Why didn't he use that in Avengers Endgame to sort of help at the end of the finale battle with Thanos and his army? Because you see that all that was hanging up in space in orbit. Oh, because it was only mentioned for this movie, because they probably didn't think about that when Endgame happened. It was only made for this movie, because otherwise it would have been mentioned. He would have used that in Avengers Endgame. But it was only designed for this, made for this movie, I guess, for the big plot convenience. But so I was like, how many? Another thing is that you could use if they had the Tony Stark had this, you could have used the help at the end of the finale of Avengers Endgame. So, but moving on. But still, Jake Gyllenhaal was selling his stuff pretty well, and then you get and then, of course, when we find out that Mary Jane knows that he's Spider-Man now, because everyone needs to know he's Spider-Man. He is Spider-Man. And you get this real good sequence where it's a really cool looking, visually good looking sequence where Mysterio, using his illusions on Spider-Man, you know how it's all these mirror images of himself piling on, and you get like a zombified Iron Man coming out of the grave, or like an army of Mysterio and a statue of Mysterio. Visually, that's very cool looking, you know, because that's what Mysterio's doing. He's selling out he's using his illusions to trick Peter Parker, and to the point where he gets hit by a train to take him out. So yeah, the visual illusions that Mysterio creates is very cool looking. It does. Very cool looking. And then when they get to the finale, the action finale, which is really well done. This is why I think that John wants he learned a couple of things from the previous film. He improved a little bit on the action thing, especially in the finale, where it's like on the London Bridge and trying to make this bigger monster come about. And what Spider-Man is using it to show doing with these drones is very good looking shots, visually as well. And with Jon Favreau with his friends, you know, like in the trailer, is it you? Who are you? I work with Spider-Man. You work for Spider-Man? I work with Spider-Man, not for Spider-Man. I mean, Jon Favreau, he did, which I don't like. I hate his Lion King movie. I do. I hate that movie I hate his Lion King movie with a passion. I do. But as Happy Hogan, he was good in this. Well, like he was in Iron Man 2 and the first Iron Man. Iron Man 3, he was out for the most movie because he got hit with the explosion. So, but I thought Jon Favreau, and especially I liked him when he was in Daredevil with Ben Affleck, a past Marvel film he was in before. But I like Jon Favreau. Acting wise, yeah, I liked him when he was Happy Hogan. But as a director, I hate his Lion King movie, and more than watching it again, I don't care for his Jungle Book movie now. I don't. I hate his Lion King movie. I don't like his Jungle Book movie. The only film I liked when he directed was, I think it was a bit underrated, is Zathura. You know, the Jumanji spin-off. He did a good job with Zathura. Because he did a good mixture of practical and CGI stuff with that. That's his best movie he did, Jon Favreau. But acting, I liked him as Happy Hogan as well. And then interesting how when he finally gets Spider-Man gets his spider sense, which they call it his Parker sense or something like that. Why can't you just call it his Spidey sense? But at the same time, I liked how when he used it to dodge out of the way when Mysterio was making those drones invisible and he's dodging the way out of them when they're shooting at him. I like how the way it went and was well shot. And until when then Mysterio made him he shot. I think he deflected the bullet and ended up shooting Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal, and then he dies. And before that, well, kind of like even after his death, he still gets back at Spider-Man. After when he's dead, which comes to the first end credit, the mid credit, whatever. Is when, Peter Parker's taking Mary Jane out on a swing, and then when the news comes in, the Daily Bugle, and one thing was cool, when I first saw it, I was like, oh man, that was really cool. They got J.K. Simmons back as J. Jonah Jameson. Granted, now he doesn't have the hair like he was in because he's bald here, because J.K. Simmons is bald anyway, but still, yeah, he was missing the hair like he had in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, like he was in the comics, but still. But it was cool they brought back J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, because I think they want to give what people wanted, because I think no one's better at playing J. Jonah Jameson than J.K. Simmons. So yeah, although it's kind of the same time though, because when Peter Parker doesn't work for the Daily Bugle, because that's another thing with the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films is with J. Jonah Jameson with Tobey Maguire Peter Parker in those Spider-Man movies, how he treats Peter Parker, which was cool, but still. But it was cool they brought back J.K. Simmons, because he is still the perfect J. Jonah Jameson. there you have it. Spider-Man, Mysterio will be dubbed, become the greatest hero of all time. And then they play which like I said, Mysterio still gets back at Spider-Man even after his death, where he made this doctored footage make it seem like Spider-Man killed Mysterio. So it made a doctored footage of that, and Jake Gyllenhaal reveals to everybody that it's Peter Parker. Now, which brings brings up another thing, because the superheroes who are alive, especially like Doctor Strange, because he worked in Infinity War, like Doctor Strange. Probably even the Falcon, Winter Soldier were all there. All the other ones that are still present, like who else knows about Spider-Man? Who was with? And I'm sure that like Doctor Strange, because he's with Spider-Man. Well, all the superheroes though who knows where Spider-Man is, but I'm sure they can know that he's not a bad guy. So I'm sure they'll probably go on the news. Oh, this is dumb, not real. Spider-Man is not a bad guy. He would never do something like this. I'm just saying. So yeah, I think that the superheroes who are currently alive, they should address that. Spider-Man is not a bad guy, even with this when the footage is shown. Granted, people will know that everyone is Peter Parker though, but they should know that he's not a bad guy. And people who probably know who Peter Parker is, they don't think he's not a bad guy either. But anyway, but I also forgot to mention during the end credits, it was cool to hear the Go-Go's "Vacation" because I like that. I enjoy that song growing up. I did. I always liked the song. Vacation is all I ever wanted. It was cool. They heard that, they played it during the end credits. I always enjoy that song. And then afterwards, which is a little bit. Even when my dad saw this, he was a little bit confused. Because my dad saw this too, and he was a bit confused how they ended, because the whole time, Maria Hill and Nick Fury, the whole time they were the Skrulls. Which is cool that it was Talos and his wife. Once again played by Ben Mendelsohn, who was Talos in Captain Marvel, which honestly, he was the best part of Captain Marvel. I like the Skrulls, the good makeup effects of the Skrulls. And I thought Ben Mendelsohn, for once, he did a good job, because he's been not that actor. He was a lame villain in Rogue One, which I hated though. But he was a lame villain in Rogue One. Even though I liked Ready Player One, his villain was lame. So here, I thought he did a good job. He was the best part of Captain Marvel as Talos, the lead Skrull. And yeah, and it's cool that he come back to play Talos in this. And I believe it's the same actress who played his wife, his Skrull wife. So, but the whole time they were posing as Nick Fury and Maria Hill, and so like Nick, and then the Talos, he calls up Nick Fury. Is how he explained how everything when he gave the glasses to Parker, and how everything with what happened with Mysterio was crazy. And then Nick Fury, he's on a holographic image of a beach, and he's on the ship, the Skrull's ship. So Nick Fury is. I know he knew. I know he knew about the Skrulls and Captain Marvel back then, but now he's working with the Skrulls. He's on the ship. He's like, "Let's go, everybody, get back to work." And you see other Skrulls walking around. So Nick Fury, he's working with the Skrulls because in the comics, Skrulls are bad guys. So, and he's on their ship. That's one that my dad was scratching his head about. He's like, why is Nick Fury working with the Skrulls? I know he knew about the Skrulls in Captain Marvel, but I guess now Skrulls are now good guys. Even my brother was like, Skrulls are not good guys. They're bad guys. Shape-shifting bad guys. Even my brother was pointing out on that. So, yeah. So I know that this. I know I'm sound like I'm ranting on this one, because I had a lot of things. Because like I said, issues we have with Homecoming is the same thing I have with Far From Home. But the positives, like I say, Tom Holland once again, he's good as Spider-Man. Jake Gyllenhaal, he was great as Mysterio. I really enjoyed how he played. How he made it interesting. He was an interesting casting choice to play Mysterio, and Jake Gyllenhaal pulled it off well. He did a really great job as Mysterio. Plus, I always enjoyed the character of Mysterio anyway, and how it did, and like with the how he made with the illusions, like we was trying to trick Peter Parker with the illusions. It was visually really well, cool looking, interesting. And how when Spider-Man when he got his Spidey sense, how the way he was using it to dodge out of the way of the drones in disguise. And at the action scene in the finale, I thought it was well put together when Spider-Man was like how he was using to take out some of the drones. Like John Favreau, he was good too. Marisa Tomei as Aunt May. For the role, she was like a bit less though, but she was still fine. Like I said, Nick Fury, Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury, and Cobie Smulders as Murray Hill. They were fine too, still. But I did not care for any of his Peter Parker's friends. I didn't care for about Mary Jane, and especially not. I still didn't like Ned, or Flash Thompson, or the actors who played Peter Parker's teachers. I thought they were annoying as well. And like I said, all the things I mentioned, like the drones while I was in game, or the whole scene when he was using the glass to take out that guy Brad, or with his pants down. I remember what was the other issues I forgot about now. It's messing with my brain now. But the issues all the issues I mentioned. But like I said, Spider-Man, Tom Holland, Jake Gyllenhaal, especially. I think they're making pretty good, interesting choice of actors to play these Spider-Man villains. Like I said, Michael Keaton, I thought he did a really good job as playing Vulture acting wise, and same with Jake Gyllenhaal. I'd be curious to know who we cast the next. I know they want to do another Spider-Man film. I think they want to focus on Peter Parker's senior year, like his graduation, I think. But who'll be the next villain, and what actor will be chose to play what villain? Because it was interesting to see Michael Keaton as Vulture, Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. I'm curious to see what villain they're gonna bring in and what actor is gonna play. Like what we have not seen in a Marvel movie. I know they mentioned about Kraven the Hunter, but that was for the Sony one, like Venom and Morbius. But like Kraven the Hunter, who else? Well, the lizard that was from that Amazing Spider-Man, unless they redo it again. Well, they already did try to redo it with Green Goblin in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man 2. I'm trying to think what other Spider-Man villains that we have not yet seen. Like I said, Kraven the Hunter would be interesting to see. Black Cat, which I know I know that Black Cat in the comics she has like a love thing with Spider-Man, even though I think he didn't know who he was though. But Black Cat, I'm just throwing out Black Cat. So or one thing I'm interesting is bring up the part when Spider-Man grows those extra arms, becoming like the Spider Monster, like from the '90s cartoon. I'll be interested in seeing that. But yeah, I'm just bring up about Kraven the Hunter, Black Cat. I'm trying to think of other Spider-Man villains. Well, Venom they already ruined in Spider-Man 3. Yeah, I also say this is Spider-Man. I would say Homecoming and Far From Home are much better than Spider-Man 3. That's still the worst Spider-Man movie I've seen. I hate Spider-Man 3. Which makes me think I'll have to review the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy sometime down the road later. And I know the Spider-Man 3 is going to be a huge rant because I hate that movie with a passion. Oh, my brother, he likes him, whatever. And yes, I do, and even my brother, he's already given me shit already because I prefer watching this over Infinity War or Endgame. Yes, I know. Before anyone says something, yeah, I'm already getting a lot of shit from my brother. Oh, you prefer this than Infinity War and Endgame? They're the greatest movies ever. I know. Before anyone says anything about that, I already get enough from my brother. He's already chewing me up for that. So maybe sometimes I am starting to get burned out on the MCU movies. I mean, I like most of them, but they started getting really bad then. I don't like Captain Marvel. I don't like Black Panther, Infinity War. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and I don't hate the Spider-Man movies. They just have a lot of issues with them. And so if it wasn't for like Tom Holland, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Michael Keaton for those movies, that I would not like them then. They're the saving graces of those movies. That's why I cannot hate these movies. Like I said, the charm being is comedic. But at the same time, I'm curious to know because they want to make the third one. I wonder who's going to be the next villain for that. I'm curious to see who's going to be the next villain and what actor is going to be in it. So like I said, Michael Keaton is Vulture, Jake Gyllenhaal is Mysterio. And I know that Michael Keaton's going to come back as Vulture, and you saw him at the end of the teaser for Morbius. So there has to be a connection to the MCU. Or they're just putting him just for the shits and giggles, trying to pull us into that. But anyway, I don't know what I can say, but yeah, I don't hate Spider-Man Far From Home. Like I said, Tom Holland and Jake Gyllenhaal did a really good job, and like the costume-wise, design-wise, Mysterio also looks like it's from the comics. The finale at the end, the action scenes I liked, the illusions I enjoyed, and the visual of the spy sense and the visuals of the illusions. Jon Favreau, Sam Jackson. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to see J.K. Simmons come back as J. Jonah Jameson. Even Ben Mendelsohn. I will say even Ben Mendelsohn as Talos, because like I said, he was the best part of Captain Marvel, the Skrulls. Although I say, why is Nick Fury working with the Skrulls on the ship anyway? Well, they'll explain it later. But anyway, yeah, I know I'm ranting on this one though, but I don't hate Far From Home. I have to explain this. It has a lot of issues like it did with Homecoming. I don't hate Homecoming, but the issues I have with it. But as of right now, yeah, I'm just trying to keep you guys updates, because I'm pre-recording my anime videos. That's why I haven't made a video. So making this one just to keep you guys occupied for my birthday month of June, anime month. But like I said, I don't hate Spider-Man Homecoming. I still like it for the positive things I said. But yeah. But like I said, it has a lot of issues though. That I mentioned. But I hope you like. Regardless, I hope you enjoy my review for Spider-Man Far From Home. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next review. Later.